Hello, you're tuning in the English News Bulletin on QPVN channel. I'm Cho Nguyen, and now let me keep you up to date with the headlines. National Assembly's 9th session set to make landmark institutional changes. Vietnam and Sri Lanka strengthen traditional relations. 50 years of Vietnam's peace and social progress marked in New York. On May the 5th, the 9th session of the 15th National Assembly convened in Hanoi. Attending the opening session were General Secretary To Lâm, President Lương Cường, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn, Standing Member of the Party Central Committee Secretariat Trần Cẩm Tú, Chairman of the Vietnam Fatherland Front Central Committee Đỗ Văn Chiến, and General Phan Văn Giang, Minister of National Defense, along with other senior officials. In his opening speech, National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn emphasized the significance of the 9th session of the 15th National Assembly in making institutional breakthroughs to bring the country into the era of modernization, digitalization, greening, and sustainable development. Spanning 37 days in 2 phases, the session will address the largest workload in the National Assembly history, including institutional amendment, legislation, supreme supervision, and the nation's critical issues. The same day at the Presidential Palace, President Lương Cường hosted a solemn welcome ceremony for President Kumara Dissanayaka and the high-ranking delegation of Sri Lanka. After the state-level welcome ceremony, President Lương Cường held talks with Sri Lankan President. President Lương Cường and his Sri Lankan counterpart agreed to continuously cultivate the traditional friendship, enhance mutual understanding, promote reciprocal visits, particularly high-level ones, boost cooperation between the 2 ruling parties and exchanges between people's organizations and friendship associations of the 2 countries, and improve the effectiveness of cooperation mechanisms. The 2 leaders agreed to promote defense and security and judicial cooperation in a more substantive manner, while agreeing to accelerate the signing of economic, trade, and investment cooperation agreements, facilitate market access for each country's competitive goods, and strive to achieve a 2-way trade target of $1 billion and further increase 2-way investment. After the talks, President Lương Cường and President of Sri Lanka Kumara Dissanayaka witnessed the signing of cooperation documents. On May the 6th, the 20th UN Day of Vesak 2025, with the theme Unity and Inclusivity for Human Dignity, Buddhist Insights for World Peace and Sustainable Development, officially opened at the Vietnam Buddhist Academy in Ho Chi Minh City. The event saw the attendance of President Lương Cường, former President Trương Tấn Sang, head of the Party Central Committee Commission for Information, Education and Mass Mobilization Nguyễn Trọng Nghĩa, Secretary of Ho Chi Minh City Party Committee Nguyễn Văn Nên, Deputy Prime Minister Mai Văn Chính, Most Venerable Thích Trí Quảng, Supreme Patriarch of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, Most Venerable Thích Thiện Nhơn, Chairman of the Executive Council of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, along with over 2,700 delegates, including 1,300 international delegates from 85 countries and territories around the world, as well as a large number of Buddhist monks and nuns at home and abroad. The UN Vesak Day 2025's theme, Unity and Inclusivity for Human Dignity, Buddhist Insights for World Peace and Sustainable Development, is a message of profound significance in the context of global complicated challenges such as conflict, inequality, climate change, and social and ethical crisis. The theme of this year's Vesak Day demonstrates UN's strong determination for broad social activities for a world of peace, friendship, cooperation, and development, promoting the spirit of tolerance, harmony, kindness, and compassion that Buddha has transmitted to together build a world of peace and happiness. This is a solid foundation for achieving social stability and finding peace in nature and the living environment. This theme also reflects the aspirations and vision of the times when linking Buddhist values with global initiatives such as the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The UN Vesak Day 2025 is an opportunity for Buddhists around the world to commemorate the birth, enlightenment, and death of Buddha, as well as to strengthen solidarity with global friends and introduce the good values of Buddhism, helping build a world of peace, happiness, and friendship. The event is also an opportunity to introduce to international friends the image of the country and people of Vietnam as peace-loving, friendly, harmonious, and united, affirming the consistent policy of respecting and ensuring freedom of belief and religion of the Vietnamese party and state. The monthly briefing of the General Political Department was held on the afternoon of May the 5th under the chair of its chairman, Senior Lieutenant General Trịnh Văn Quyết, to review party and political work performance in April and rollout tasks for May. In April, the party and political work in the whole military has been carried out comprehensively and synchronously with good results, closely following the military defense task. Notably, the dissemination work has been implemented proactively and promptly to orientate the ideology and public opinion on new issues, creating high consensus and unity in perception and action. Senior Lieutenant General Trịnh Văn Quyết urged that in May, the whole military needs to continue carrying out political education, improving discipline observance and law compliance of soldiers, augmenting political dissemination and education on digital platforms, resolutely implement digital transformation, guide and strictly resolve policies for cadres at units of mergers and streamlining. Also, on the afternoon of May the 5th, while presiding over a conference held by the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army, General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army and Deputy Defense Minister, requested the General Staff in the upcoming months to direct the whole military to strictly maintain combat readiness, closely monitor situations, and coordinate with the public security force to maintain security and order nationwide. Affiliated agencies are urged to develop parade and combat readiness plans for the ceremony marking the 80th anniversary of the August Revolution and National Day on September the 2nd. General Nguyễn Tân Cương requested the General Staff to soon organize a conference drawing experience of the organization of the parade marking the 50th anniversary of the Self-Liberation and National Reunification Day, then organize the forces participating in the parade marking the 80th anniversary of the August Revolution and National Day, September 2nd, in a safe and disciplined manner. He laid emphasis on the strict management over unmanned aircraft and other flying vehicles and the strengthening of information control on cyberspace. He also urged to deploy the project to rearrange the local military organization, meeting the task requirements in a new situation. Coming up next, 50 years of Vietnam's peace and social progress marked in New York. Vietnamese tourism welcomes 10.5 million tourist arrivals during April the 30th, May the 1st holiday. On the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Self-Liberation and National Reunification Day, the network of Vietnamese friends in New York and neighboring areas recently coordinated with the Permanent Mission of Vietnam to the United Nations to organize the celebration marking 50 years of peace and social progress in Vietnam. The participants recalled the historical great significance of April the 30th, 1975, a glorious milestone marking the complete victory of the Vietnamese people in the cause of national liberation and reunification, as well as a common victory of progressive humanity for justice, peace, and the right to self-determination of peoples around the world. The courage and resilience of collectives and individuals who raised their voice to demand the U.S. government to end unjust war in Vietnam, lift the siege and embargo, and later normalize the bilateral relations were also highlighted. At the event, Ambassador Đặng Hoàng Giang, head of the Permanent Mission of Vietnam to the UN, affirmed that April the 30th, 1975 was a major historical milestone, opening a new chapter of peace, unity, independence, and development for the Vietnamese people, while laying the foundation for the Vietnam-U.S. relationship to move from confrontation to reconciliation, then to normalization, and now to a comprehensive strategic partnership. The country has been reunited for 50 years round. Vietnamese people have concurred as one. To achieve such solidarity, it is worth mentioning the correctness and timeliness of the party and state's policy of national reconciliation after the war. In particular, the strengthening of the connection between overseas Vietnamese and homeland, partly on the shoulders of diplomats. Let's listen to Ambassador Nguyễn Phú Bình, former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, former Chairman of the State Committee for Overseas Vietnamese Affairs, now Chairman of the Association for Liaison with Overseas Vietnamese, to learn more about this. Mr. Ambassador, the great victory of April 30th, 1975 was the glorious end to the longest, most difficult, and greatest war of national salvation in the Vietnamese history. Right after the day of national reunification, we must embark on the first urgent task to build the country. Among them was the work of national reconciliation. Can you share one of your most memorable stories during the years of working with overseas Vietnamese affairs? Prior to Politburo's Resolution number 36, we began to welcome a number of people who were high-ranking officers or important leaderships of the Saigon puppet government. We welcomed Nguyễn Cao Kỳ, former Vice President and Prime Minister of the Saigon puppet government, a typical prickly person of the Saigon regime. When he met us, he said that he was determined to return to the country, because he saw that the country had changed a lot now. In the past, the country was divided. Now it is unified and connected. In the past, the country suffered the war. Now the country enjoys peace and development. In the past, the country had interference from foreigners. Now there are none. In the past, the country was poor. Now it is on the rise. Why do we have to fight? From fierce opposing position, he started to realize national harmony. He praised the policy of national harmony and reconciliation of our party and state. That is to say, even those who made many mistakes in the past can find a path to redemption once we have a sound policy. We successfully arouse the national sentiments. They return with a positive frame of mind. That motivates others, even those with extreme attitudes. This is first a successful step in the overseas Vietnamese work, and over the past 50 years, that success has not been limited. Vietnam has been making persistent efforts to build a solid common home for Vietnamese people. How can that home be described, Mr. Ambassador? I think that the Vietnam Fatherland Front is gathering place and a house of great solidarity of not only ethnic groups, religions, and classes in the country, but also overseas Vietnamese. What can we do to connect them with the country? The best connection is the Vietnamese language. Now we have been trying to open more classes and schools to teach Vietnamese language. In addition, we have worked on launching online Vietnamese language courses and compiling bilingual Vietnamese documents. Then we have tried to preserve the worshipping of Hùng Kings on Hùng King's death anniversary among overseas Vietnamese community so that they are always reminded of Lạc Anh Hùng descendants. Personal interests are another factor connecting them to the country. When they invest in the country and their money is guaranteed to breed money, they'll certainly make investment. That is considered a measure to connect overseas Vietnamese with their home country, also an effort to build the great national unity. And we've worked on developing the network of overseas Vietnamese around the world. The delegations of the Vietnam Fatherland Front has never forgotten to meet with overseas Vietnamese community whenever they go on a mission abroad. So do Vietnamese senior leaders. Those moves have demonstrated to the overseas Vietnamese that the party and state, as well as people in the homeland, always take care of the overseas Vietnamese, which draws them closer to the country. Such a good premiere for us to build a house of great national unity. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. According to the Vietnam National Authority of Tourism, during the 5-day holiday from April the 30th to May the 4th, the tourism sector is estimated to serve some 10.5 million visitors, a year-on-year increase of 31.2%. Ho Chi Minh City welcomed the largest number of tourist arrivals in the country, with nearly 2 million visitors, of whom international visitors are estimated at about 120,000. In terms of tourism revenue, Ho Chi Minh City also leads the country with more than $308.6 million in revenue during the 5-day holiday, followed by Thanh Hóa with nearly $182.5 million in revenue. Other localities across the country also recorded a sharp increase in the number of visitors, achieving a total revenue from tourism higher than the last same period. And that's all for now. Remember, you can always watch your news again at QPVN.vn. Now, thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.